This is the test of the control pad that I put the Xbox One Elite Series 2 analog sticks in there, with the screw cap modification on plastic standard caps for a DualShock 4. So this is the DualShock 4, the black one, revisited. Right, what you can see why the average error is so large, because the left one is the raw Gin Fall potentiometers, sorry, Hall effect potentiometers. That is the overall size that they come out at, 21.8. I physically centered the magnets as best I could, and the right hand side one you can see is slightly smaller with an average error 18.5, because I added twin trim pots to both axes. I put 100Ks on both sides, so it's 200 per axis on the minus and the positive, just to see if I can get it under control. I did go smaller, but it started to draw it under the full 100% range. So for some reason Hall effect pots do not draw in the diagonals when using the secondary trim pot method to try to tame that outer circularity. I think it must have something to do with the way the Hall effect chipsets are pre-programmed from the factory to be wide open raw in the diagonals, and you're then reliant on that web page that allows you to recalibrate, and then it might draw them in. I'll have to look into that. But as you see, it's fairly decent. And I think the worst position was somewhere there. If you push it down and then try to force it into a potential drift position, I did do a slight test on some photos that I will show you. Anyway, this one over here, what did that come out like? So that would have been really quite large. Oh, that's really big, isn't it? 10.588. But that's physically trying to manipulate the magnets back and forward, and they're very, very twitchy when you do that. You can knock them miles trying to do them slightly with a pin or some bent nosed pliers. Right, to the photos. How do you work this thing? Nope. Recent, see all. Let's go to that photo. This is the photo of what I said I did. That is the right analog stick, the underside, and that's for 100k ohms resistance secondary trim pots soldered with a U wire in the middle to the outside terminals. So that was the right stick, and then the left stick I left it bare for a raw test. And this was the test where I tried to get the worst possible resting positions I could. So this is the photo. 9804 on that one, that's a raw pot with no 100Ks on it. And then that 9020 down there on the right stick. This was the raw test of both with no 100k trim pots on it. So that right side is slightly bigger on that one, and it had the 9804s showing up there, and an 11373, which was the left axis 2 negative, left to right. So axis 3 positive is top to bottom, so that's bottom axis 3, that's the plus side. What's this? This is just a photo reproduction of that. Oh, and this is a standard DualShock 4 with ordinary potentiometers in it that I'd recalibrated and repaired, and you can see they are actually circular with the track and wiper system, or more circular, but As you can tell, I like to have at least 10.9 as my average error, and if you can see this on screen there, that is very, very tight, and that is why I like to have an overhead buffer of 10.9, because if I needed to throw that left stick any further to the right, it might have dove under, or if I needed to throw it up more to get the centre in. And I think, yeah, I did use offset secondary trim pots on that to force it, so they had different values top and bottom on the minus and the positive axes. I can't tell you what they are at the minute. I didn't get the paperwork out. I can't remember. What else we got? Oh, that's what it looks like when it's together. I think that was when I just done it, just soldered it up. That was them in. That was cleaning them up, cleaning the bases up once I'd taken out the original pots, and I discovered that I could use petroleum jelly as a makeshift flux of sorts for cleaning off and making the solder run fluid. It worked, sort of, but the petroleum jelly does go solidified and snotty when you start to clean it off with isopropyl rubbing alcohol, and it's very easy to flow with the heat, so you don't want to flood it. I think I put a bit too much on there because it ended up going up all through all the chips at the top, so I had to clean it all out on the little SMD surface mounted devices. And I think that's it. What is that? Right, that's it. That's all to report. Until I've had this hooked up to a PC and actually recalibrated it that way, I will not be able to report anything on this. Thanks for watching.